Okay, today we're going to solve rational equations. Okay, depending on what kind of equation you get, will kind of be different on how you solve. You have two options. If you can get it where you have one fraction equal to one fraction, then you can cross multiply. Otherwise, we're going to get them all to be the same denominator and cancel. Well, this is an example of where you could get it to be one fraction equals one fraction because you have two that are just numbers. So what I can do is I can move the 4/7 over here, and by doing that I would subtract it. So then I would have 3 over x minus 3 equals 3/8. Okay, and then I have a fraction equal to a fraction. When that happens, you can cross multiply. So then I would get 3 times x minus 3 equals 3 times 8. Well, then I would distribute on the left-hand side. So I would have 3x minus 9 equals 24. And I would solve this equation. So I would add 9. So I have 3x equals 33. Divided by 3, x equals 11. Okay, check your solution. Here's what you have to check. You don't have to check the whole thing. You need to make sure it doesn't make any of the denominators 0 because you can't divide by 0. So my only fraction that has a variable in it is the second one, and 11 minus 3 is not 0. So that will be your answer. Okay, so that's what you do if you have like, where you can get a fraction equal to a fraction. Let's do another one like that. Okay, and how you know you can do that is if you only have one fraction that actually has a variable. Okay, so what I would do on this one is I move the parts that don't have a variable in the bottom of the same side, so I would subtract 4/3. So I would have 10 over 2x plus 1 equals 2/3. Okay, then I would cross multiply. And when you cross multiply, it doesn't matter which part you put first. Just make sure that you're multiplying diagonally. That's what cross multiplying means. So I would have 2 times 2x plus 1 equals 3 times 10. Okay, I would distribute. So I would get 4x plus 2 equals 30. Subtract 2. So I have 4x equals 28. Divide by 4. X equals 7. Okay, make sure that doesn't make my denominator 0. This is the only one that has a variable. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. So I'm good. Okay, now we're going to do ones that are a little bit more complicated. So we can't cross multiply on these. can't cross multiply. You have variables on all your fractions, and none of them are the same, so you can't just get it to be one fraction equals one fraction. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at all the denominators, and you're going to factor what needs factored. So the only one that can factor is this right-hand side, because x plus 3 and x minus 2 are already factored. So multiply to get negative 6, add to get 1, would be 3 and negative 2. So this factors into x plus 3, x minus 2. So this is going to replace that. Okay, your next goal, you want to get every denominator to look exactly the same. So you're going to multiply by what they need. So like if I'm looking at this first fraction, it has an x plus 3. This one has an x plus 3, but this one doesn't, so this one's going to need an x plus 3. We're going to multiply top and bottom by it. These two both have x minus 2's, but this one doesn't, so you're going to multiply this one by x minus 2. Okay, when you multiply, you have to multiply the top and the bottom by what you need. Okay, so on this first one, I would distribute, so I would have 14x minus 28 over x plus 3, x minus 2. Then I would have my plus. Then I would go to my next fraction, distribute. So this would be 10x plus 30 over x plus 3, x minus 2 equals, okay, the right hand one we didn't have to multiply anything by, so that one just stayed the same, 122 over x plus 3, x minus 2. Okay, here's the cool thing about when you do it like this way. So it's not as easy as when you cross multiply, but once you get all the denominators to be the same, you cancel it out and you solve the numerator. So I would solve 14x plus or minus 28, and we're adding this whole fraction, so plus 10x plus 30 equals 122. So if I combine like terms, I would have 24x plus 2 is 122. Subtract 2. 24x equals 120. Divide by 24. X equals 5. Check to make sure it doesn't make any of the denominators 0. It doesn't, so you're good. Okay, if it does, then your answer would be no solution. Unless you had two answers, then you could go with the other answer. Okay, one more. So I have multiple variables, so I'm going to need to factor this. So multiply to get 20, add to get negative 9, negative 4 and 5. So this factors into x minus 4, x minus 5. And that's going to replace that. Okay, then you look at what they all have and you're going to multiply by what they still need. So like this one has an x minus 5, but I see there's x minus 4's over here. So I'm going to have to multiply this one by x minus 4. This middle one needs an x minus 5, so I'm going to multiply it by x minus 5. Okay, this one has both of them, so I don't have to multiply that side by anything. Alright, so multiply. So I would distribute, so that'd be 8x minus 32 over x minus 4, x minus 5, minus, okay, distribute here, so I'd have 9x minus 45 over x minus 4, x minus 5 equals 5 over x minus 4, x minus 5. Okay, all the denominators are the same, so those cancel out. So you solve the numerator. So I would have 8x minus 32. Okay, here's where you have to pay attention. This is a minus sign. So that means both of those are going to be minus. So this would be minus 9x. And then I would have minus negative 45, which is going to turn into plus 45, equals 5. Combine like terms, I would have negative x plus 13 equals 5. Solve, subtract 13. So I have negative x equals negative 8. Divide by negative 1, x equals 8. And I check to make sure it doesn't make my denominator 0. It doesn't, so that's my answer. Okay, your homework covering this is out of your textbook, page 577, 16 through 21 all.